Welcome to another In Wheel Time podcast, a 30-minute mini version of the In Wheel Time car show that airs live every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central. Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved.
Let's give John Gray two spots there.
There you go. There you go. So that's triple the pay.
So
that's right. He gets lots of credit. He does a really good job. He's helped us out
bringing
a lot
us
of
back.
things.
You know what? I'm going to bring us back in.
Top of the hour, almost
Here we
the
go.
top of the hour.
I'm pushing buttons. How about that? Isn't that awesome?
Well,
you were almost there, Jeff.
We heard the bell ring.
All right, let's do this again. Ready?
Got to hear the car zoom off.
All right, In Wheel Time Car Show. Oh, that's a different one. Hold on. It's the In Wheel Time Car Show. Go to all things automotive place. Ahead, we've got Conrad doing stuff, and we got Mike doing stuff, and we got me doing stuff, and all right here in this room. So,
and we're going to be joined by with Kelly Funhouser.
I have no idea.
From Consumer Reports is going to enlighten us on.
Let me turn this down.
On
driver
assist systems and what the industry is saying about those and what Consumer Reports has learned about them.
Is Kelly ready?
Kelly's ready. Hi, Kelly. How are you?
Hi, Kelly. Sorry about all that, but you're on.
We lost her. You had
hold on.
sound. I heard her talking.
You got to turn her on, Jeff.
There
Jeff,
she is. How about now?
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, there you are.
Hey,
Jeff.
How are you guys this morning?
Not good.
we got Jeff is kind of.
I'm substituting.
Yes, he's our substitute.
You know, when they have a substitute teacher in class, all the students go crazy. That's what's happening.
But we like that. We like when there's a substitute because then we can go crazy.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
that's right. That's
join
right.
the crowd. Thank you, Kelly.
Yes. Don had to. He got called out. He's a fly guy for one of the local TV stations, and
he does helicopter reporting.
Yeah, something happened.
So something's going on in Houston.
He's
and
a doctor,
and
he needed to go into emergency surgery. That's what it is. We'll
that sounds better.
Next hour, we'll make that up.
Yeah, we'll use that next hour. So anyway.
His parole officer called. He had to go.
Sergeant Woodard's got him in the back of the DPS car.
Okay, this is Kelly's time.
Okay, yes. All right. So, Kelly, how are you?
I'm fantastic. Thanks for asking.
Well,
Thanks for having me.
Joining us today.
Where are you located at?
I'm in Connecticut.
Okay,
very good.
The home of Consumer Reports.
There you go.
Yes, New York is really the home, but the good stuff, the Disneyland, the test track, that's in Connecticut.
Oh, we like that.
Yeah.
Probably for tax purposes.
And I like the way she said that, the Disneyland.
I know. I like that. I have to remember that.
Yeah.
So tell us what Consumer Reports is doing regarding today's driver assist systems.
Sure. So we released a report this week where we broke down kind of the state of the market and took a deep dive into the true availability of driver assist systems, particularly those that are very similar to autopilot. So you've probably heard of Tesla Autopilot, where it can control the steering and the speed. Well, what we did is we took a look at all of the model year 2021 vehicles and found that actually 50% of them have the same capabilities of being able to control the steering and the speed, just like autopilot.
Yeah, I know Cadillac has had one now for a couple of years, and I think they just now have introduced it on some of the GMC trucks. That might be for 2022 as well. But I know it seems like this automated driving system is being brought into lower and lower price level cars. Generally, it was always in the super luxury vehicles. Now that it looks like they've validated it in the upper level cars, and they're pricing it so they can bring it down to the lesser priced vehicles.
That's right. And we actually took a look even at within each model, the trim lines, so the packages that you can get on your vehicle. We even looked and found that the equivalent car that Consumer Reports we would buy for our test program, which we tried to buy the most representative of the trim line that a consumer would walk into the dealer and then leave the dealership with. So rather than, the highest trim with all the bells and whistles that all of those other auto reporters get, we get the one most representative. And what we found was in that sample, it was 46% of vehicles have it. So it's not even, you have to pay to get all of the packages and all the features. It's actually very mainstream.
And in your testing of the systems themselves, what did you guys learn as far as functionality of the system?
Yeah, so the systems perform still, there's a wide spectrum of that. Most of them are designed to keep the car kind of at or near the center of the lane line. Some are better than others, if that's the metric of trying to keep you right at the dead center of the lane. But most of them are capable on highways, type of, if you're road tripping or something like that, you're on a long highway with, not too sharp of curves. Most of them are able to, perform very well at steering and controlling the speed of the vehicle.
And a lot of them, if I'm correct, actually use the onboard camera system to identify lines in the road, as well as they have the adaptive radar that literally is a radar to distance and speed sense the vehicle in front of you. And that's how they kind of keep you in lane, is through the camera system.
Yeah, you got it, exactly. So cameras are one of the most common ones that they're kind of looking ahead and determining if there's a lane line, where it is, and then trying to keep you, essentially away from it or in between two of them. Radar, you're right. A lot of cars have that for the adaptive cruise control. So there's a lot of tech in cars these days.
Now, one of the things that we did not say about Kelly, that she is the program manager, vehicle interference testing, and head of connected and automated vehicle testing for Consumer Reports. Is that correct?
That was correct last week. I actually have a new title this week.
Okay.
But it wouldn't fit on the business card.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge.
So
big
we
name.
consolidated it because that's quite a mouthful. And so now it's just the manager of advanced vehicle technology.
Just
yeah,
stuff.
exactly.
Manager
so just
of
put
stuff.
it all into it, fewer words. You got it.
So representing Consumer Reports, how much, when you talk about advanced vehicle technology, how much of what you look at, I assume, and test is all production, but do the manufacturers kind of give you a quick invite, like GM would take you to Milford and show you the next evolution of something?
Oh, that would be cool.
Yeah, actually, I get the best of all of the worlds, really. So yeah, we purchase through our secret shoppers anonymously all of the vehicles for our test program. So they are truly buying what someone off the street would go and purchase. And again, they're looking for kind of that mid-ish trim, whatever the highest volume or most representative is.
Right.
In addition to that, we do get all of the sneak peeks. So we are still, a media organization. And so for us to stay on top of what's coming and what to keep our eyes on, we do also rent from the manufacturers some of their press vehicles. And so, we're getting those top of the line, all the bells and whistles so that we can see, what's coming before it may even be in production. But we don't test any of those. We may write, kind of like a first look type of impressions, but we make sure that we don't test anything that has had, direct manufacturer knowledge that we own the vehicle.
You wouldn't think they'd skunk works you, do they?
Oh.
Do a little something special to it.
Exactly. That's exactly.
You talk about the auto drive features, and there's been, a lot of hoopla about them, but there's also been some pretty bad press about them as well. One thing people need to understand is it's a camera that's looking at reflective lines in the highway. When the reflective lines in the highway go away, the system generally automatically throws a warning and then shuts off. But you still have to pay attention.
Right.
So that's actually a best case scenario. Oftentimes, well, the cameras aren't even necessarily looking for the reflective line. They're really looking for contrast of anything that could be really interpreted as a line. So think of it in like black and white, right? So if they see some contrast that is generally in the forward direction, then they're going to, perhaps interpret that as a lane line. But think of shadows now, right? And we're still talking black and white. Shadows, if there's, power poles or lines that reflect on the road, it can have all these mistakes. And to your comment of, they'll give you a warning and shut off. They have a lot more confidence in themselves than they probably should. And so one of my favorite party tricks at my Disneyland trek is we actually have some lane lines that end before the edge of our paved roadway, and then there's kind of some gravel. And so I love having my goal is to have someone scream if they're in the car with me, and so I'll let it go.
Well, she's a fun person to drive with.
It's always a good time at the track. So I'll have the lane keeping system on, and I'll let it keep going. The lane lines will end. There's still pavement, and it doesn't shut off, and it literally runs you off the road. And we've cut the trees, but if there were trees there, who knows what could happen.
Well, and we could tell you are from the Northeast, as I was born and raised in. You talk with your hands.
Oh, yeah.
So having hands-free driving works well.
So that's funny. And I'm actually from Utah, which is apparently a talking hand state too. But that's funny because in the BMW, I do run into issues because they have gesture control to use to change the volume of the radio and stuff. So I'm constantly just blasting the radio or changing it when I talk with my hands if I'm on a call in the car.
Now they have
funny.
I've seen television commercials where they're advertising the hands-free driving.
Oh, yeah, that's the new GMC.
Right, the new GMC, and they're doing a Queen song where they're clapping their hands, and I just think that is the wrong impression to give. My opinion. I don't think they should be showing people that you can drive no-handed. Of course, they're on PCH in California.
Right.
They're
on a well set up road that the system understands.
And then, of course, the disclaimer on the bottom: don't try this at home.
Yeah,
but
you can't read that. Even with my glasses, you can't read that.
Hey, I take my hands off the wheel to sing that, so we will rock you anyhow.
I just think that's a bad idea, my opinion. So
I think also I agree with you. And there was a Super Bowl commercial this past year advertising Super Cruise, and it was Edward Scissorhands. So he literally didn't have hands. Yeah. And that's not perhaps the best message to put out there in front of a lot of viewers at the Super Bowl. But currently, like I said, these systems really aren't top notch. They're not able to, turn them on and then the driver takes a nap by any means. And so you do have to be paying attention. But I do want to give some credit back to the Super Cruise system because they are really the only one right now that has an infrared eye tracker right in front of their steering wheel. And so they, at a minimum, make sure that the driver's eyes are awake and looking at the roadway. Whereas most of the other systems out there don't have this capability and kind of rely on the driver to maybe, get a warning and then tug the steering wheel a little bit. And we've found through, our collaborators at MIT that oftentimes what happens is if you get a warning on a screen inside the car, not looking at the roadway, you get the warning, you look at the warning in the car, tug the steering wheel, and you may never even look at the roadway, but the car will continue operating with those systems.
Yeah, one of the more recent ones I had, it was and Sergeant Woodard's gone now, so I mean he's working, so I'm not too worried about that.
Yeah.
But so I do some of that. I don't have Disneyland to play on, so I got to unfortunately make use.
He's doing it on the live streets.
Yeah, what you do, what you got to do,
Yeah, that's fun too.
Yeah.
He's shutting down I-10. Isn't he?
Lots of people are screaming.
Yeah, particularly whenever I wake up, so they keep me awake by screaming. So I did run into that one time. I was driving a vehicle on a press event and took my hands off the wheel to kind of see how the center lane worked. And one of them, it would literally work itself up to where it just got harder and harder going back and forth. It didn't really stay centered. And it would literally throw itself off the road if you let it go far enough. And then another one was going around a curve, and there was a driveway in the curve. So the white lines were gone, and all of a sudden it didn't know what to do. And it just, just said, okay, I'm going this way. But
it can only be so smart, and depending on what they're using to track, that's why I think this infrared looking at the eyes to make sure the lids are open, as well as I'm sure they're looking for motion of the eye, that you're not just kind of staring off in the distance
you're
or your eyes
with your eyes closed,
and you're reading something, but you just happen to be looking in the right direction. These systems, they present them at a level, my opinion, above what the consumer should accept them to deliver. I mean,
well, they set unreal expectations.
Exactly.
And the car, I think it was the one that Don just got out of, when I had it, coming down the interstate, long, Interstate 10's really long and straight, take your hands off of it, it's very good at keeping you, as you mentioned, centered.
Between the lines.
Between the lines. And I sat there, and I probably went 6 miles.
Wow.
And it finally said, hey, are you there? And if you got to put your hands back on the steering wheel.
Give me something.
So all I had to do was,
Input.
touch it.
A little bit of input.
And it let it know, okay, I'm still here. And off I was again.
What was it going to do if you weren't?
Well, that's what I didn't know. I didn't know. At that speed, I didn't want to find out. But it's a good question. What would it do?
Right. So you're right at the heart of the problem. There is that a lot of the systems do a really good job for a long time, right? Many miles. In your case, 6, but they can go these are highly capable systems, and I've gone many more miles without really having to, take over in any way or assist it. And that's the problem, is that, not only do they have the perception in perhaps marketing or even before you get it, but once you're in the car and you've seen it perform well so much, it's so easy to kind of check out, or okay, the car's got it, I'm going to pick up my phone and, answer this text or something. And that's why you need at least this, camera or something to make sure the driver's looking at the road.
Paying attention.
Yeah, you got it.
What have you got in the hopper? What are you working on new now? Anything?
Yeah, so we're actually, we're on this topic. We're collaborating with other advocacy and consumer organizations and others to kind of research the, development of these driver monitoring type of systems. As this is the manufacturer's systems on the cars are just going to improve quickly, and we can see they're widespread already too. So we're trying to, find a way to ensure that, at a minimum, the driver's eyes are open and looking towards the road.
So have you developed, because, reading Consumer Reports, you guys do a really nice structured analysis of this functionality. Well, with these auto cruise systems, that's kind of a new world. Have you guys already somewhat structured your analysis page? Because you're kind of looking at things you never had to look at before in that regard.
Yeah, totally. It's job security for me. All this stuff coming on. Exactly. Yeah. And this report that we just released this week is kind of the first step towards that. We really kind of broke down exactly what these systems do, how to turn them on in the car, what the buttons look like, what they're called, all of those types of things. There is starting to be a little bit of convergence, as they're being developed of, there's 2-ish lane keeping type of systems. There's the late reacting one, like you're crossing or about to cross a lane line and it kind of nudges you either aggressively or gently, still there's a range, versus these other lane keeping that are more of a centering type of continuous system. So in our report, we break that down so that going forward, we can, use that information to help consumers understand which one, or if they have both, what the expectations are and how to know if their system's broken or not, kind of understand what their car is actually capable of.
Let me ask you from a kind of, it's about the same thing, but so I'm getting all these messages from my car that telling me, are you awake? Put your hands on the steering wheel, or you're drifting off to this lane and everything.
Shut up and drive.
Yeah, pay attention, fool.
Good song.
And do at some point, does all this input become actually a distraction in and of itself to the driving experience?
So it can, and that's something that we're looking at closely as well, is, the advancements of technology and screens and touch screens in cars, they can become a distraction, and perhaps they're not even the best solution out there. Your phone in your hand, you have all of this precision, when you're controlling it, but now you have this large screen when you're driving down a bumpy road and you're trying to hit something in the center of the screen without even, being able to reach the edge to stabilize your hand. All of those types of things are, something that could create new risk that we are paying very close attention to.
And those screens are becoming larger and larger.
Right, that's what you said. You can't even reach the other side of it to set
and then you go to hit something and you hit a bump in the road and now, you've hit something else.
Yeah,
put it in reverse.
Now my seats go into high mode and all of a sudden.
And then when you look at
all of a sudden it's doing stuff you don't know.
and then you look at how all the different manufacturers feed back to the driver when to engage. Does it shake the seat? Does a light flash? Does a sound occur? Does a steering wheel jiggle?
Yeah.
All of these different types of inputs that vary from manufacturer to manufacturer. Do you think there'll be any standardization coming in the future?
I've already seen over the past couple of years, a lot of these started out with beeps. Everything was beeping. I used to have a presentation called "What the Beep" because everything was beeping at me.
We need that segment.
What the beep? Exactly. And so I've already seen what you just mentioned is now we're seeing more of maybe steering wheel vibrations or seat vibrations as to not annoy the drivers and everyone else in the car, which actually can be embarrassing. It's like, hey, are you a bad driver? Because everything's beeping at you. But yeah, exactly. So we're starting to see that. And the steering wheel vibration is kind of what's rising to be the most popular type of warning for these systems.
Cool. And because the seat vibration, different ones. I mean, literally, it kind of shook you out. Some of the early ones,
I had a loaner
shook
car.
You out of the seat.
Right now, you got the mirror when you've got someone next to you. The little light pops up on the mirror either side, and then the loaner cars with Cadillac, I used to have the side of the bottom seat would vibrate.
Right.
If there was an indication of another vehicle, either right or left. So I would kind of ride close to that because I kind of like that.
I would ride to the left a little bit so they vibrate on the left side.
Yep, there you go. And then, of course, like Conrad said, the steering wheel would jiggle too.
Yeah.
And that scares you at first when
the first time you do it. Yeah.
Some of them are really scary. They're more of like a shudder,
right?
Yeah. Vibration.
And then
I'm losing control.
Yeah. And if you're distracted at that moment, how do you react when that happens? If you're not really thinking, do you slam on the brakes and then there's an issue from somebody behind you? Do you jump up and jerk the wheel and now you're changing lanes?
And to your point where you said it's going to be standardized, well, just think of the rear view camera.
Right.
Things like that.
Yeah, it takes a little while.
With big help from Consumer Reports getting that over the finish line.
So thank you very much.
On it.
Good job. Good job.
So Kelly, in your future here as Advanced Vehicles, are you doing anything with autonomous doing any analysis, I'm sure you are, of autonomous braking systems? Because that
absolutely
tends to be a bit of the rage at the moment as well.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. And the good news on that topic is that several years ago, we worked with IHS Insurance Institute as well as NHTSA, the government, to create a voluntary agreement where manufacturers signed on to say, I promise we'll have this tech on our vehicle by September 1, 2022.
Yeah.
And they're on track to really have that as standard equipment. Again, you don't have to pay all the big bucks, to get the packages. We want it to be standard because it is safety. So under a year, that's going to be essentially any new car you buy, you're almost guaranteed to have it.
Wonderful. Kelly Funhouser with Consumer Reports. We really appreciate you coming on and enlightening us on what Consumer Reports is doing in the industry as far as vehicle
driver
safety.
Systems,
and vehicle safety.
And Disneyland.
And Disneyland.
Exactly.
Yeah, how do you get tickets to that Disneyland?
We're going to come up and do a remote.
Sometime.
There you go. Kelly, thank you so much. We do appreciate you.
Thanks for having me.
Yep, see you next time.
Bye.
It's always good to have Consumer Reports on the show. They bring so much knowledge of what the industry, where it's moving, but also how the industry is changing.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And she is fun. I mean, she laughs and has a good time.
Well,
and
she's
I like
a wealth
that.
of information, and she's passing that through us and to the folks that listen to us.
And I want to see you go for a ride with her make you scream
love
like a
to.
girl.
I'll scream like a little girl. You know what? Let's set it up for Don, but don't tell him.
Oh, yeah.
Let's set it up
I think Don's screaming in the back of in the back of Stephen Woodard's patrol car at the moment.
Well, we just want to, and we want to thank Kelly again. So if you need to get in touch with us, shoot us an email. The address is info@inwheeltime.com, or you can send it direct to Mike at info@wheeltime or Conrad. Anything that you want to send to me, send to Mike. So you can do that. And you can also get us at, info@inwheeltime.com. And moving on from this segment, we're going to...
Well, let's talk about the race calendar.
Okay.
The racing season's kind of coming to an end.
And then we need to get a car review in as well.
Mike's car review?
No, Jeff's. Because Jeff's got to go in place of Don because Don had to do his early.
Okay, so we're going to do this. And you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do it all myself. Since I'm at good pushing buttons over here and doing all this technology.
Oh, my God.
Here we go. You ready? You ready, boys?
Go for it.
Get it, dude. Get it.
Here we go. I'm going to start out with this and freeze that. So this is a 2010 PT Cruiser. It's a 5-passenger vehicle. And believe it or not, fellas, I had one of these as a company car.
I'm not surprised.
A long time ago.
Not a bad car.
No, well, not a bad car, and then, not a good car either. So we'll get onto that. So what we're going to do, the Chrysler PT Cruiser is a front-engine, front-wheel drive, small family car, compact car manufactured and marketed internationally by Chrysler in a 4-door hatchback wagon from 2000 to 2010. I'm going to move the picture going forward. Here we go. And we're going to have just a hodgepodge of photos. The PT Cruiser also has a GT version, which is the GT Cruiser. It's a high-output turbocharged hot hatch variant of the PT Cruiser introduced in 2003 model. When Chrysler's PT Cruiser first arrived on the American market in April of 2000, it was an instant hit with consumers because of the styling and a combination of retro, mixed modern features. But exactly what does PT stand for? Oh, well,
it's a good question. I never did know what it stands for.
Officially, the PT stands for personal transportation, Mike. But the initials also, personal transportation, also designate the car's platform. The Neon was based on the Chrysler PL, or platform, the platform low, while the Cruiser was based on the Chrysler PT platform for the platform tall. So you got low and tall. Doesn't make sense to me. Originally designed as a concept car, the PT Cruiser was first introduced to the American shores during the 1999 North American International Auto Show in Detroit, Michigan. The design was so popular that it went into mass production in April of 2000. Check this out. Brian Nesbitt.
With the monkeys?
No, that's Michael Nesbitt. This is Brian Nesbitt, probably a long-lost cousin. A 27-year-old graduate of the Art Center of Pasadena and the staff designer at Chrysler designed the PT Cruiser. Mr. Nesbitt mixed modern designs with the looks of panel trucks from the 30s and hot rods of the 50s and 60s. Car and Driver magazine named the PT Cruiser 2001 North American Car of the Year. Check out that monster. Did you see that doing that wheelie? That was awesome. It is a 2.4-liter, 4-cylinder, 4-valve per cylinder, 150 horsepower, 165 foot-pounds of torque. It is a 4-speed VLP transmission, front-wheel drive. It's 19 miles per gallon in the city, 24 on the highway with a combined of about 21 to 22 in that area, in that range.
And the basis...
Hold on, Conrad.
Once you bring my sound
There
up,
you go.
The basis for the car was a Dodge Neon.
Yeah, we went through that.
Okay.
We went through
I'm
that.
sorry, I was outside.
So with that in mind, you got all the typical things for the interior. No, you can get leather and all that good stuff if you want to pay for it. Back in the day, the base price was anywhere between $18 and $24, depending on what it was. It gets 4 to 5 stars on the vehicle's rating system. 6 exterior colors, 1 interior color, and the interior color is pastel gray. So there you go.
That rear engine one that was doing the wheelie.
The wheelie.
I was at an event one time, actually up in the Austin area, and he was there doing some runs.
Yeah.
And so I got some pictures and stuff. That's a really cool car with a Hemi blown Hemi sitting in the back of it.
Yeah, in the back. Good stuff.
I liked it.
Yep. And that's it. We're going to move on.
For this segment of In-Wheel Time.
For this segment of In-Wheel Time, that's right. Keep talking. I'll push the button.
Are you going to do the cruising calendar?
Yeah. No, we're going to
get it in the time.
We're going to do the race calendar.
Okay.
And tonight is, or this weekend is Phoenix, the finale, or tomorrow night is the finale for NASCAR.
Is it at night or during the day?
No, it's during the day.
Okay.
I'm
Phoenix.
stumbling.
That's okay.
Also, Formula One is in Mexico this weekend. They're in Qatar on the 21st, Saudi Arabia on the 5th, and the finals in Abu Dhabi on the 12th. IMSA next weekend, the finale at Road Atlanta. And I'm hoping that is a prelude to our next guest, Alec Udell, who I think is probably going to be going to Atlanta for the weekend.
Right. We're going to catch him in the
I
next
think he
half
went
hour.
the other way,
You
but
bet.
we're fixing to find out.
And then also on November the 11th is the final NHRA event in Pomona, and Erica Enders is within 32 points of the championship.
She'll get it. She's got my support.
If you watched what happened in Las Vegas, there was a lot of whining and complaining because Elite Motorsports brought in a lot of other drivers to drive other elite cars, and Greg Anderson and his team brought in a lot of other drivers to drive, and they're all trying to block Greg Anderson, who went out in the first round.
They're all mixing up the standings.
Trying to
for the levels.
advance to the next round, the next
whining
championship.
and crying, but if you can do it, if it's a gray area, if it's not written black and white.
As far as I'm concerned, go Erica Enders. I want you to be the champion. You're a friend of the show.
Yep.
And we cheer you on all the time.
Okay. Are we ready, Mike?
Yes, sir.
Let's do this. Hold on. I got to make sure I've got this all up and about and going crazy. Here we go. Ready? Commercial break. I think.
If you turn the sound on, we can listen to
We'll be taking a break for Thanksgiving and Autorama, but we'll be back for a great Christmas cruise-in on December 18th, so make plans now. You know that Tailpipes and Tacos is the Houston area's coolest cruise-in, a place you'll see friends, family, and the finest cruise-in cars in the Houston area. It all happens at the Lupi Tortilla Tex-Mex in Katy on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10. Get your ride ready for a very special Christmas cruise-in, Lupi style. It's Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, December 18th. The In-Wheel Time Car Talk Show will be there too. Let's celebrate the Christmas season together at the next Tailpipes and Tacos on December 18th. We'll see you then, weather permitting. Gulf Coast Auto Shield has moved to a more convenient location. Now you can visit John Gray and his staff of dedicated professionals at their new shop on the South Sam Houston Parkway between Belford and Airport in Southwest Houston. Gulf Coast Auto Shield is the best at paint correction and ceramic coatings. Clear bras and custom wraps are specialties that only Gulf Coast Auto Shield installs with award-winning accuracy, and all their services come with a warranty. Lamborghini, Aston Martin, Porsche, and Ferrari owners depend on Gulf Coast Auto Shield for their specialty services, and you should too. The In-Wheel Time Corvette and Cutlass have both been massaged by Gulf Coast Auto Shield, so isn't it time your vehicle visit their new shop in Southwest Houston? Call John Gray today at 832-930-5655 or visit online at gcautoshield.com. That's gcautoshield.com. Paint, coatings, wraps, and more at gcautoshield.com. That's it for this podcast episode of the In-Wheel Time Car Show. I'm Don Armstrong, inviting you to join us for our live show every Saturday morning, 8 to 11 a.m. Central on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and our InWheelTime.com website. Podcasts are available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, iHeart Podcast, Podcast Addict, TuneIn, Pandora, and Amazon Music. Keep listening, and we'll see you soon.